All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. I just want to welcome you guys to this webinar. We are really excited about this webinar. We've been waiting for it. If you're just joining us, once again, this is Josh Legel, CEO and founder of My Daily Choice. I'm really excited today to co-host this webinar with Mr. Todd Falcone. As some of you may have noticed in our back office recently, there's now a leads and traffic tab. So if you haven't gone there, you need to go there right after this webinar. Todd has put together some exclusive videos for us here at My Daily Choice, and there's also a new lead generation program. And guys, I just want to say that Todd hasn't done this for any other company in the industry. He's been in the industry a long time doing training, and these videos he's specifically made for us. There's like 15 of them. And I want to just highly encourage you guys to go into your back office after this webinar, check them out, check out his training store that he has, and he's going to do some great training tonight. And on the lead side, we've also developed an incredible way for you guys to generate leads and traffic right into your system. Some of the training that you're going to hear today and some of Todd's training products will go hand in hand with the lead generation. So I don't want to steal any time away from Todd. His time is very valuable. For those of you who don't know Todd Falcone, let me just tell you a little bit about this guy. He's been in the network marketing industry as a trainer for over the past 25 years. And what's so amazing about Todd is he's not just one of those trainers that tells you what to do. He's actually done it himself. And it's funny, when I first started in the industry when I was 18 years old, some of the training that Todd was doing back then was some of my very first exposure. He did a training on recruiting professionals, and I used that training, applied it to my business a long time ago, and I was able to recruit realtors, insurance agents, top-notch professionals in my business. So it was phenomenal. Todd also consults for network marketing company owners. He coaches, he trains top-level distributors. He's the president of Reach for Success LLC. He's been an author of numerous articles and training programs. Some of them are the insider secrets to recruiting professionals, how to win in the game of prospecting, the little black book of scripts, which he's going to talk a little bit about today, and cracking the code to success in network marketing. Todd's been speaking on countless stages in front of hundreds of thousands of distributors worldwide. Todd's real, he's raw, he's direct, and he's going to give you an hour worth of gold nuggets on this webinar for free, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have him doing MDC webinars for us. So Mr. Todd Falcone, are you there, my friend?
I'm right here, Josh. How you doing today?
Doing fantastic.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on your webinar here with your group from all over the planet, and congratulations on your success with MDC. It's great to see what you guys are doing, and it's a pleasure to be here to share with your folks on how to speed up the process of being successful in their network marketing business. And I've got a lot of information to cover over the next hour, so I want to get right into the meat of the matter. So here's what I want to do. I want to go through and really talk to you very frankly about what it takes to be successful in network marketing, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my theories behind working leads, and also how you can get good at overcoming objections as they come your way in network marketing. So I'm going to cover as much as I can during the time that we do have available to us, and then I'm going to share with you some resources that will be very advantageous in helping you to grow your business. So let's start with this. Let's start out with what I call my success formula. And the success formula in network marketing is this. It's MASS, M-A-S-S, and that stands for mindset plus action plus skill set equals success. What's fascinating to me is a lot of people, they kind of focus on, oh, hey, give me the perfect script. Like the perfect script's going to be my solution. And while having the right words in the right order and knowing what to say to someone is obviously of great importance, your mindset has mostly is a big part. In fact, Tony Robbins, I was watching him. I was at an event that he did recently, and he was talking about how success 80% psychology and 20% mechanics. So it's really, you know, your mindset has so much to do with your ability to succeed. And, you know, especially in a business like network marketing, it's really important that you work on your mindset, that you take appropriate actions, that you work on your skills. And when you combine all those together, that's what actually equates to success in this business. So let's talk about some of the things that impact your mindset. First of all, and I talk about this on almost every stage I speak on, the foundation of your success is really based on your beliefs. And this is kind of fascinating because this is when people are like, hey, well, you know, please don't just sit here and tell me all I have to do is believe. You know, come on, there's got to be more to it. I mean, in every book you've probably ever read, you've heard about the concept of belief and how important it is. But here's the thing, it's impossible to be successful in network marketing if you're doubting the business model, if you're doubting yourself, if you're doubting anything. You can't be successful, because if you don't buy your story, nobody's going to buy your story. And one of the greatest challenges that most people face in network marketing is their foundation of beliefs around the business model that they're in. It's fascinating because people that are involved in network marketing, that have a distributor ID number, that are in a network marketing company, a good majority of those people are running around doubting or having this little inkling in the back of their mind, you know, is this real? Is this possible? Can I do this? Is this network marketing thing for real? And so I think one of the first things that we got to look at is let's look at the facts about direct selling as a business model. As it stands today, with the types of compensation plans we have available to us, the profession's been around for about 70 years. Direct selling has been around for, you know, since man existed, you know, when it goes back to bartering and trading. But with the types of compensation plans we have today, it's been around for about 70 years. And statistically, you know, you can look at these numbers. In 2013, about 96 million people involved globally in the professional network marketing, and 178 billion in sales. Jumped to, in 2014, to just shy of 100 million people. And globally, the direct selling industry did 182 billion in sales in 2014. And what's actually even more interesting is, and this 1 in 4 adults in the U.S., this is a U.S. statistic in fact, but 1 in 4 adults have purchased a product from a direct seller in the past 6 months. 1 in 4, 25% of human beings have purchased a product from a direct seller within the last 6 months. That's fascinating to me. Even the ones that may be negative or not understand or don't get network marketing, they're buying products from network marketing and direct sales people. So, and these statistics come right out of the World Federation of Direct Selling Associations. To me, when I look at those numbers, those are pretty staggering numbers. 100 million people involved, $182 billion in global sales over 70 years as an established profession. That would give me, and I would hope it would give you as well, enough comfort to go to bed at night knowing that network marketing direct sales is for real, that it's here to stay, it's not going anywhere. And there's areas that you need to build your beliefs in. Obviously, first and foremost, the profession of network marketing, and the reality that exists and the opportunity that exists by being in this profession. In this case as well, your company that you represent and the opportunity that MDC presents to you. The products that you bring to the table, do customers derive a benefit or result from the products? And then you. And then the last one, that's the one we need a little work on, is developing beliefs, your own self-confidence around doing network marketing. I know that when I started 26 years ago, I didn't have any self-confidence in it, because in me anyhow, because I had never done it before. So it was something that I had to learn, and your self-confidence in this profession, your belief in yourself, is something that's built over time. But let's talk about some of the things that do impact your mindset, and things that you can do to dramatically enhance your own consciousness around what you do. Your environment has everything to do with your ability to be in the right mind frame. I suggest people all the time that they immerse themselves in success. And that means really, you know, who are you surrounding yourself with? And the question that I would pose to you, or you would pose to yourself, is, am I surrounding myself with the right people on a regular basis who support me? It's very challenging to operate from a really solid success consciousness if we're constantly hanging out with people that aren't supportive of what we're doing. just like you, I've had many negative friends or family members that didn't understand what I was involved in, didn't get it, made fun of me in some cases. In fact, my 2 college roommates, I'd come home from working in my network marketing business, and they'd sit there and as soon as I walked in the door, they go, "Hey, how's your deal going? You rich yet? How's your thing? Are you a millionaire?" And here I am surrounding myself with a bunch of fun, super motivated, excited people all day, and then I go home to my buddies who I'm investing time with, and the challenge is that if you're spending time with people that are not supporting you, not encouraging you, not lifting you up, then that's going to impact you. And so as network marketers, we have to actively remove some of the negativity from our lives. So it may involve you literally spending less time with some of the people that aren't serving you. We'd hope that our friends would be, encouraging and supportive. And unfortunately, some of them are not. And some of you may have realized that already, and that's just a fact. And I think that it's important we come to grips with that reality, and then knowing that reality, we can do something about it. And so in order for you to really operate from a convicted, belief, solid mindset, you got to be hanging out with the right kind of people, surrounding yourself with people that support you. And I literally kicked my 2 roommates out of my house at one point because I couldn't handle their negativity any longer. And I began to choose to surround myself with other people that were encouraging, that were lifting me up, or at the very least weren't making fun of me or putting me down because I was becoming an entrepreneur and doing my own thing. So that's one of the major things that you've got to do. Your personal development habits are also important. What you watch, what you read, what you listen to, it surfaces in literally every area of your life. So, my question to you would be, am I working daily on me to increase the value that I bring to the marketplace? What are you doing every single day to ensure that you're growing, learning, and putting good, positive stuff into your brain? It's funny because I remember when I first got started in network marketing, I was 22. I literally just graduated from college, and what do you do in college? You read books and you study. And when you get done with college, what do you not want to do? I don't want to read books and study. I just got done doing that my whole life. And I remember I walked in, and literally the first day I walked in to take a look at this business, and it was the first training I went to, they referenced a book called Think and Grow Rich. And they said, you need to read this book, and you need to attend this event. And I was like, read a book? I don't want to read a book. I just got done reading books. Can I just make some money? And it took me a little while to embrace and understand the importance of self-education. How does Jim Rohn phrase it? Formal education will make you a living, and self-education will make you a fortune. So it's important that you embrace and understand the critical nature of you being in this constant personal development and growth mode. I'd ask you, what book is on your bedstand? What's next to you? On my desk right now, a stack of books. I've got a stack of books next to my bed. What's on my book stand right next to me? 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell, Evolve Your Brain by Joe Dispenza, Presenting Magically, The Universe is a Single Atom by Dalai Lama, a book called Clarity that I'm reading by Jamie Smart. This is just what's on my desk, and then I got a stack of books down on my bed stand that I read very regularly. You've got to be doing things that feed your mindset, because if you don't, it's kind of like the weeds of life get in there, and unfortunately, if you're not doing something to actively improve your consciousness, the negativity is going to affect you. Your personal actions have everything to do with your mindset. Action impacts your success consciousness as well as your inner confidence. So I'd have you pose yourself this question: am I regularly applying the knowledge that I'm acquiring and putting it into practice? It's one thing to be a student, and it's great to be a student of success, but it's the application of that matters. Knowledge, what's the phrase I think that's thrown around? Knowledge is power. Knowledge is useless unless you put it to use. It means nothing unless you actually do something with it. So there's a phrase that I say on stages I speak on all the time: soak and apply. Soak in the information, yes, but apply what you learned. In fact, even from this webinar today, my suggestion for you would be, if you really want to grow, that you take a couple of chunks or pieces of information that you learned from this webinar, and that you don't sit on it, that you immediately apply something into your business within 24 hours. I don't read a book without specifically applying something from that book into my life. So, and that's a great habit to be in, that anytime you read a book, attend an event, listen to a CD, learn something, that you take the learning and you go, okay, how can I take what I just learned and put it into practice in my business? That's really, really important. What impacts your skill set? How do you improve your skills? You know, look, here's a good thing about skills. Skills are developed. We can learn to do things. I had no skills when I came in this business. I was a college student. I didn't know anything about business building, team building. I didn't know anything about prospecting, recruiting, selling. I knew nothing. And your confidence, your personal self-confidence grows as your competence grows, as your ability to do something well grows. One of the things that I found that is so underdone in network marketing is practice. What makes a professional a professional? Well, what makes a professional a professional? A professional is a professional because they practice. In fact, I was sitting, here's a prime example. I was on the soccer field with my kid at soccer practice one day, and this guy, it comes up, and he was wearing a hat from a American football team that actually Seattle Seahawks, where I grew up, and this is down in the desert in Arizona. I said, "Oh, you're from Seattle?" He said, "Yeah, I'm from Seattle." I'm like, "That's cool." I'm like, "What are you doing down in the desert?" And he said, "Oh, I'm playing golf." I'm like, "Oh, you on vacation?" He goes, "No, I play golf." I'm like, "You play golf professionally?" He goes, "Yeah, I do." I go, "Wow." I go, "You on the PGA Tour?" He goes, "Yep, I am." I'm like, "Wow, what's your name?" And he goes, "Richard Lee." And I looked at him, I go, "Oh my gosh, you are Richard Lee." And I didn't even recognize the guy because he's wearing a Seattle Seahawks hat and he wasn't on the golf course in his golf attire. And the funny thing was, I was watching him the previous Saturday, and he was in second place at a major golf tournament. And I love to play golf, so I asked him some questions. I said, "So wow, I mean, so how old are you?" He said, "I'm 27." I said, "Wow, interesting." I said, "How long have you been playing golf?" And I thought, you guys got to have been playing golf since he's like 3 or 4 or something. He never picked up a golf club till he was 14. And he had been on the tour for like 3 or 4 years at that point. I'm like, so he went from never picking up a golf club to 9 years later being on the PGA Tour, being one of only 250 players in the world. By the way, there are 91 million people on planet Earth that play golf, and only about 250 people in the world play golf professionally during a given year. I asked him a question. This is what I asked him. I said, "Listen," I said, "how did you get so good so fast?" Without hesitation, he said to me, he goes, "I love to practice." He goes, "As soon as I picked up a golf club, I wanted to get good at it. I wanted to improve my skills. So every morning before school, every morning after school, every weekend, I was practicing. And that's how he got so good. But what's fascinating, and I've done this because I've spoken in 23 countries on 6 continents, nobody really practices that much in network marketing. But they want to be good, and they're wondering, why am I not a professional? Well, my question to you would be, how much time are you actually investing in practicing and refining your skills? Do you actually spend time practicing like your approach, practicing your presentation, practicing how you talk to someone, role-playing constantly, not just doing it the first day? It's interesting, people get into network marketing, and they talk to somebody like, you know, they go through their script once, and then they think they own it. And they think they've mastered, "Oh, I read the script once, and I'm good." But they don't really spend any time practicing. If you want to get really, really, really good in this business, which I hope you do, you need to invest time in practicing and refining your skills daily, repeatedly, nonstop. Like, your practice never actually ends. Unfortunately, guess what? Most people don't practice, which is why they're not a pro. Feedback actually is very powerful in improving your skill set. So how do you know if you're actually getting better? Well, you have to have some mechanism for feedback. And I do these things that are called both qualitative and quantitative self-checks. I know those are sophisticated words, but they're not that sophisticated. And they give you the ability to kind of measure the improvements in your business. And here's how you do it. I'll give you the qualitative one would be this. My suggestion, if I could require this of every network marketer, I would, but because it's a volunteer sport, I can't. But if I could require you, everyone on this webinar, to do what I'm going to share with you right now, I would do it. And here's what it is. Record some of your calls. Record some of your presentations. How do you know what you sound like when you're prospecting someone? How do you know what you look like or sound like when you're giving a presentation? if I'm on the phone with a prospect, how do I know what I sound like? I mean, I'm hearing myself even as I talk on this webinar, but I can't really give myself any room for improvement when I'm actually doing the talking. It's after it, if I've recorded something and then I was able to listen to it and go, oh my goodness, what I just said there and the way I said that was not effective. I need to change that. And it was funny because the first time it was apparent to me is, I'm a professional speaker now, but when I was in college, I had a speech class that I almost failed, and I hated speaking, and I had to get up on stage and talk about a pencil on camera for 60 seconds, and I got up in front of my classmates, and the camera was on. I got up there, thought I was, this pencil is amazing, and it's yellow, and it's sharp, and it's got all this, blah, 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 and I got off stage thinking, oh man, I licked that presentation. That was so good. And then the next day, all the students had to watch their presentations. And I was appalled because when I watched me on video, I was literally talking like this. Well, there's a pencil and, pencil. And I looked at that video and I was like, oh my goodness, that was horrific. But I thought, when I did it, I thought I did a great job until I saw it on camera. So my suggestion is, if you want to be as good as you possibly can be, now it's up to you to make the decision to do this or not. Again, I can't make you do it. If it was something that could be forced upon network marketing distributors, I would force every network marketing distributor to record a cross-section of their calls, their meetings, their presentations on video, on audio, so that they can review it, listen to it over and over again, and see where they can make improvements. That'll absolutely help you make improvements so that your skills improve and the results and your effectiveness increases. The quantitative self-check, and this is a reality check to really see if you're in the business or not, because people are in the business and they're like, yeah, I'm in the business, I want to be successful, I want to make 10 grand a month, I want to, okay, well, cool. Well, let's talk about what'd you do in the last 24 hours. So, in fact, if you're taking notes, draw a box on a piece of paper. And I've done this on probably every stage I've ever spoken on. Draw a box on a piece of paper wherever you're taking notes. And in the box, this is a reality check. This is going to be painful for some of you because this is going to tell whether you're really in the business or just talking about being in the business. In the box, I want you to write a number, and the number is how many new people in the last 24 hours did you talk to about MDC? Not follow-ups, not talking to your sponsor, not thinking about prospecting. How many new exposures in the last 24 hours did you make for your business? Nobody's going to see the number but you. 0 is not a good number. If you wrote a 0, that means you're not in the business. 1, okay, that's better than 0, but 1 person in the last 24 hours? 2, you're getting better. 3, you're getting better. I have a phrase that goes along with that little box. It's double digits a day, keep the commission checks on their way. I've been saying that for 15 years. What does that mean? What's a double digit? 10. Does that mean you have to talk to 10 people every single day in order for you to be successful in this business? No, it does not. But 0 is not a good number, neither is 1. What you need to do, and I would challenge you to, for the next 30 days, end every day by drawing a box and a piece of paper. And putting in and being honest with yourself and putting in how many new people did you talk to that day about your business. The feedback that you get from that is so amazing, because if you constantly are looking at a 0, a 1, a 0, a 2, a 0, a 0, you look at it and you realize I'm really not in the business. Being in a business like this and doing this business is the actions that you take. And you're able to improve your skills when you're taking actions. If you're not doing anything, if you're thinking about getting ready to think about getting ready and pondering and pontificating the idea of actually maybe doing something someday, you can't improve, and you're certainly not going to grow your business. I know that's a harsh reality check for some people, because some of you, I know because I do this enough and I've seen the numbers enough. There are people on this webinar that are probably looking at it and going, that's not a good number. Well, if it's not a good number, at least now that you have a level of awareness, and the first step towards creating change in your life is awareness. So now, the more you make yourself aware of what is going on or not happening, the more that you can change. What also improves skill set is real world experience. You got to be focusing on doing the activities that make you money most of the time. And here's something, it's so easy to get distracted. Like, there's look, here's a little tip for you. After you get off this webinar and during your next work session, grab your mobile device and set an alarm at some random time. It doesn't matter what the time is. Just like, let's say you're going to work your business from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Set the alarm for some random time to go off. And when that alarm goes off and it goes dee-dee-dee, 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 or whatever irritating sound that you prefer on your alarm, stop yourself right that moment and ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now making me money? Is the activity that I'm doing right this second as that alarm went off, is that making me money? And if the alarm went off and you're 55 minutes into a Facebook surfing session, vicariously living your life through the news feeds, photos, status updates of other people, and you're scrolling through Facebook and you're not doing something to build your business, you need to stop that activity and start doing the activity that makes you money. You guys already know what makes you money in this business. If you're not exposing people, prospecting, talking to people, presenting, you're really not doing the activities that make you money. And it's important that we make sure that we're focusing on those activities and that we have some kind of reality checking mechanism as well to make sure that we're doing revenue producing activities most of the time. I'm going to talk for a little bit about how you get better results with leads, okay? There's all those videos that we put in your back office that are totally designed to help you get better results with working leads. I want to talk to you a little bit about just some of my key points in making sure you get the best results when prospecting leads specifically. Number one is making sure that you practice your script before you make a call. And you practice it to the point where you're comfortable with it. You never want to pick up the phone and call a lead and not really be clear with what's on your script. Like, you don't want to sound like this. Hi, is Josh in? Hi, Josh. My name is Todd Falcone. I am calling you because your name was referred. I'm calling you because you were referred. Wait a minute. You want to make sure that you sound conversational. I've had people call me and try to prospect me, and I know that they're reading off of a script because they sound like they're reading off of a script. You do not want to sound like you're reading off of a script. Scripts are powerful. I wrote my little black book of scripts for a reason. I put it in your back office. It's available to you guys now in your back office. I'd highly recommend you get that because it puts you in the position of literally having the right words to say with every possible situation that you find yourself in as a network marketer. But you got to, first of all, practice your script before you make your call. Number two is, and this is really powerful, is harnessing what's called the power of projection. And you can do this extremely effectively with leads, and here's how it works. Anytime that you're talking to someone and you're communicating and you're opening up your mouth and you're speaking to someone, let's say, and we'll just use this example, you're on the phone with someone, okay? I'm on the phone with a lead, and everything that I say and how I say it and my tone and just the way I'm speaking to that person, that's essentially projected onto a screen that that person is viewing, okay? And the thing that they're watching, the screen that they're watching, which is me talking to them, what I'm projecting upon them becomes their reality of who I am. Now, I want you to understand the power of this because when I first started in network marketing, the way I communicated was you could feel in the tone of my voice amateur, desperation, not successful, just doesn't have it all together, no confidence, and nobody was buying from me because I wasn't even aware that I was doing this. I was projecting this image of neediness and desperation, and one day I decided to act differently. I decided to go, and I thought to myself, how would I act on the phone with a prospect if I was making like 10 or 20,000 a month? Would I act differently than I am now? And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I would act way differently. Well, I thought, well, how would I act? Well, I would carry myself more confidently. I would speak with a different tone. I would hold my head high. I would be more calm, more relaxed, there would just be a different tone about the way I spoke. And so I decided, I'm going to just make a call and act as if I'm already making 20 grand a month. Now, I want you to understand something. I'm not calling and telling my prospects, hey man, I'm making 20 grand a month. You should work with me. This isn't about lying to people. This isn't about saying something that's untrue. It's really about faking yourself out into acting the part. I would ask you, I mean, how would you act? Would you act differently if you were making $20,000 a month right now in MDC? And many of you would say, oh my gosh, I would act totally different. I would talk differently. I would speak differently. The way I would respond would be different. I would be carrying myself so much higher with so much greater posture and confidence in everything that I do. Okay, well, if that's the case, why not do it now? And the funny thing is, I used the power of projection to earn I got to my first $10,000 a month check working out of a garage. I was literally working out of a garage. That was my office, was a garage. I had a one-bedroom condo or a apartment complex, or what I guess it was a duplex, and there was a garage, but the garage was had a strip of carpet in it, and that's where my desk was. But you got to think something. I'm calling all these leads, and I'm not communicating, hey, you know, I'm calling you from my garage. Things aren't really going very well. I hope you can't tell that I'm living in my garage. Nobody knew if I was working in a 10 square foot room in a garage or if I was calling them from a 10,000 square foot house. They didn't know the difference because of the tone and how I came across on the phone. So I'm telling you guys, there's so much power in harnessing the power of projection. What you project on a person becomes their reality of who you are. Number three is you got to get your numbers up, okay? Period. When it comes to working leads, you got to get your numbers up. This is a numbers game, and I already mentioned the double digits a day concept, but the key to getting better results with leads is making sure that you're working larger numbers. So whatever you're doing, the more leads that you have, the better off you're going to be, period. It is a numbers game. You can't be calling 5 leads a day and expect to get dramatic results. You really got to get significant numbers up and get them as high as you can possibly get them in the time that you have available to work your business. Number 4, I would say this is of critical importance, is be completely on top of your follow-up game and don't be a ball dropper. You know, I hear from clients of mine and they say, oh, I'm just not really good at follow-up. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you're not good at follow-up? There's nothing really to follow up other than, you know, deciding that you're going to get back to the person that you communicated with and do so in a timely fashion. And the thing you have to understand about follow-up in this business is most of your money is going to come from follow-up calls. So if you're a great initiator and you go out and reach out to somebody and you send them some information, waiting around for them to get back to you is a huge mistake. So you want to be on your follow-up game and making sure that you're getting back to people very, very quickly. People ask, well, when's the best time to get back with someone? As soon as possible. How soon as possible? Well, it depends. If I'm talking to you this morning and you tell me that you can get to whatever additional piece of information that I'm getting to you sometime later today, I'm going to get back to you later today. Just so you guys know, just in case you're new, there's no 24-hour, 48-hour, 7-day, 5-day rule. You ideally want to get back to a person as soon as possible, and the soonest you can get back to them is the moment, the second that they've reviewed or looked at whatever additional piece of information it is that you're getting to them. So you want to make sure that you're really on top of your follow-up game and that you're showing up on time for your appointments, that you're scheduling an appointment. The way I schedule a follow-up with someone, if I've got to get them additional information, I'd say something like, Josh, I can get you further information about the company. Let me ask you a question. When in the next 24 hours can you review that information so I can schedule a time to get back to you? And Josh says, well, I can get back to it. You know, I can get to it this afternoon when I get home from work. I'm like, great. When can I give you a call tonight, at 7 or 8:30? Which one is better for you? And make sure that you're giving people an option when you're setting up a follow-up call. And that, let's say Josh said 8:30. Well, guess what happens at 8:30 on the nose? His phone rings. Like literally 8:30 on the nose, the phone rings. Not 8:35, not 8:40, not 8:50, not 8:10, not 8:15, 8:30 his phone rings. And what that's showing your prospect is you're serious. You're a professional. People want to work with people that are serious and that are professional. Number 5, and this is hugely important, is you have to emotionally detach yourself from any outcome. It's easy to get emotionally attached to outcomes. And the thing is, if you got a prospect that's showing interest and says they want more information, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I got a good one, and then they decide that they're not interested, or that they're not going to do it, or they flake on a follow-up appointment, and you allow yourself to get depressed over the fact that this person said that they were going to sign up and now they didn't, you're in for a long haul in this business. If I get somebody that tells, I might have had a good conversation with Josh. Josh sounds like a really great guy. We set up an appointment at 8:30. I call, I'm on time. He's not there. He's shown me through his actions that he's probably not interested because he told me he'd be there and now he's not. I don't go into a state of depression and stop working for the next week because Josh didn't show up. I leave a message on Josh's voicemail, and I'm immediately on to the next prospect. I'm not even worried about it, thinking about it, attached to it. If Josh calls me back, great. If he doesn't, no problem. That's the way you have to be with prospecting in general, and certainly with your leads for sure. And number 6 is we got to listen clearly when we're prospecting. And this goes with all of your prospecting, where you don't have other things going on. People are so multitasking today. They're doing this, that, and the other. They're bouncing around. You got to be very, have nothing else going on. Your door closed, no Twittering, no Facebooking, no text messaging. Anytime that you're on the phone with someone, you got to be totally present and be looking for signs that tell you that they're the right person. And if you're paying attention, if you're totally present in the conversation and not spacing out, you're going to pick up on signs that these people are giving you. And the last thing I'd say about this, and this is one of the most important things I can tell you about prospecting in general, is being genuinely interested, not interesting. And that comes out of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it basically means that, the more interest that you're showing in another person, if you really want to get good results in your prospecting efforts, warm market, cold market leads, whatever, the more you show interest in them and you're genuinely interested in who they are and what's going on with them, you're going to be able to uncover and discover things and find out if they're dissatisfied with their job, or they're unhappy with their work, or they're stressed out, or they don't make enough money, or they're looking for a product benefit that's something that you guys offer. But if we get in there and all we're doing is talking about me, let me tell you about my thing, let me tell you about what we do, let me tell you about who we are, let me tell you about how cool we are, how great our company is, it's clearly communicating to the person that you don't really care. Now, there's a time and a place to present your opportunity, present your business, to tell them about what you do, but the power in prospecting comes from being genuinely interested in other people, not being the interesting person, which unfortunately most people try to be. I want to talk for just a few minutes about addressing objections, obliterating objections, okay? Number 1, and this is how you get good at dealing with objections. Number 1 is you don't ever argue with your prospect or get defensive. Somebody says, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. That's too expensive. I need to talk to my wife. I tried one of those things before and it didn't work. Is this a pyramid? Whatever the deal is, a lot of people whatever the objection that they give you or the question, they're expecting that you might get on the defensive. So when you don't get on the defensive, you already are at a major advantage. So never, ever get on the defensive. Number 1, you want to stay calm, cool, and collected. Somebody gives you an objection, I don't have the time, I need to think about it. Whatever that objection is, look, objections are actually good. In fact, I want you to tell yourself that. Tell yourself that objections are good. It means that my prospect is concerned, which is them showing interest in my business. So often people are like, I'm afraid to get objections. I love getting objections because that tells me the prospect is interested, but they've got some concern. So instead of looking at an objection like it's a bad thing, you got to tell yourself objections are amazing. I love getting objections because that means that my prospect has some concern and they're showing interest, and it's just my job to help address that concern. I also want to say this, because people say this to me all the time. I hate being rejected. I get rejected all the time. No, you don't. You're just choosing to feel rejected. There is no rejection in network marketing, okay? There are objections and questions, but there is no rejection. Rejection's personal. We're not asking people to go out on a date here. If I asked a girl out on a date and she said, look, dude, you know what? You're ugly. You got no personality whatsoever. Your teeth are crooked. Your breath stinks. You don't know how to dress. You got dirt underneath your fingernails. Oh, my goodness. And your BO is horrific. That is rejection. That's personal. When somebody says to you, I'm not open, I'm not interested, I'm not looking, whatever it is, that's them saying no to themselves. So you have to get past you taking it personally when somebody says something to you, because it isn't personal. This is business. There is no rejection. There are only objections. And then I'm going to give you this. This is a very powerful method for obliterating objections. This comes out of very traditional sales 101. It's called the feel, felt, found method. You can use it in almost every situation that you find yourself in. And I'll give it to you. Feel, felt, found. If you haven't heard this before, now you get to. If you have, now you get a little repeat. You can use this on almost every objection that you get in network marketing. You know, somebody says, Todd, I just don't have the time. You know, gosh, Bob, I totally understand how you feel. I'm empathizing with the person. I'm not arguing. What do you mean you don't have the time? You're stupid. You don't have any time? What are you talking about? Come on, you got the time. That's not how we deal with it. Somebody says to me, you know, I'm too busy. I just don't have the time. I'm like, hey, you know, Josh, I totally understand exactly how you feel. In fact, honestly, I felt exactly the same way when I was looking at this business, because I was working a job 70 hours a week, and I got 4 kids, and I'm involved in so many other activities. I didn't think I had any time to do this business. But you know what I found? I found that you could actually do this business in extremely spare time, in a 5-minute call here or 5 minutes here. And what I found is even in that tiny amount of time, I was able to generate additional income even when I felt that I had no time. You can do that with almost anything. Oh, you know, I need to, you know, is this, you know, your product seems expensive. Well, you know what, I understand how you feel. I mean, a lot of people have felt the same way that I've talked to as prospects. And you know what, most of them have found that our product is far superior to what they can find anywhere else, and that they're actually getting bigger and better results because of the quality of the product that we're bringing to market. So something that you can practice and get good at. I understand how you feel. You're empathizing. Other people have felt the same way, or I felt the same way, and then what they found or what I found was. And you can literally use that in almost every method of dealing with objections, or every objection you get, and it's an important and easy thing to work with and memorize. So real quick, I know we're going to probably reserve a little bit of time for some questions, I think, but I wanted to share something really quickly with you guys. I haven't seen the back office of your MDC back office, where they just added this leads and traffic button or icon. You can see on your screen right now where it is. I'll tell you what, when you click on leads and traffic, you're going to see all of those videos that I did for you guys that are specifically about working leads. And I made these for Josh, and I made these for you guys specifically to make sure that you're getting really good with working leads and making sure that your results in working leads are highly effective. And then one of the things that Josh asked me to do is arrange to have some of my training programs available in your back office. And we just put in there my #1 selling product of all time, which is called my Little Black Book of Scripts. It's very, very affordable. It's a very powerful training. It's been one of my top sellers for about 6 years, and is probably one of the most widely used field training guides in all of network marketing, literally all over the world. And you guys have access to that in your back office, and you can see where it says buy Todd's #1 product. There's a little button there with an arrow. I'd highly suggest that you go in there and grab yourself a copy of my Little Black Book of Scripts and start using that in your business, because not only does it help you to make phone calls to leads and know what to say, I teach you how to talk to a warm market that you talk to on a regular basis, how to talk to a referral, how to talk to someone that you meet out and about, how to literally every situation where you need to open up your mouth to talk to someone about your network marketing business is included in that script book. And then the cool thing is I include 2 audio segments where I go through the entire script book with you and actually teach you how to work the leads, or excuse me, how to work the scripts. Because it's one thing to hand somebody a script and say, here, go use this script, this is the script, but it's entirely different when you have a professional saying, look, let me tell you how you want to read this script and how this script should sound when you're actually doing it, and the situations that you should be using this in. So I literally open the book. I'm in my studio going through the entire book with you, and I teach you how to use all of the scripts in that book so you're crystal clear and you're not using them improperly. So I'd highly recommend that you go grab that today and make sure that's part of your training arsenal and you start using that. So Josh, I will pass it back over to you, and I know that you had perhaps some questions that some of the folks might have had, and I'd be happy to address those before we get to the top of the hour.
Yeah, sure. Todd, can you hear me okay?
I can, absolutely.
Awesome. First off, I just want to say that was an amazing training. I mean, there's so many golden nuggets and value in your training. Some of my biggest takeaways from that was double digits a day, keep the commission checks on their way. I think that's brilliant. And then also on money-making activities, it's so amazing what can happen when you make that shift in focus and you start doing the right activities. You also said get your numbers up. You know, when I first started calling leads and I was prospecting, I was doing 100 phone calls a day, 100 leads a day, and that's how I was able to be a top recruiter. And then one of the other things you said with prospecting was follow up. I think so many people drop the ball here. I can't tell you how many people have come to the table and they've got people who are interested and they say this person or that person never got back to me. So I think those were just you know, really awesome you know, tips and advice. I have a few questions that I wrote down, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I would love to hear some of your answers to these questions, and I'm sure on behalf of everybody on this webinar, I think I can put together some pretty good questions here. First one is more so on what's happening in the network marketing industry right now. You know, there's a lot of people that are kind of hopping from company to company. It's like every month there's a new network marketing company and people are posting this company's the best or that company's the best, and sometimes, you know, like you may have a down month in your business, or maybe you don't have a lot of momentum, or you just don't have a lot going on yet. It can be really tempting to take a look at other businesses. So what would you say to people in that position for them to stay focused?
Well, first of all, you can't. There's always going to be other opportunities that come down the pike. I mean, there's a never-ending flow of distractions and other deals, companies that are launched, and that's never going to stop. As long as you're in network marketing, there's always going to be somebody that's going to be coming to you with some new idea, new thing, new company. You know, here's the thing: you have got to put your blinders on and focus on what you're doing. Typically, here's the thing. What I see most of the time when somebody leaves a company, they're leaving a good company to go to someplace else thinking that the solution is in this other company, when it never is. The solution is internal. What I tell people is, look, are there people making money in your company? Yeah. And there's never a situation where I ask the question, they go, nobody's making money in our company. Yeah, oh yeah, people are making money in our company. And if there are people who have already succeeded in your company and you're not making money, the company is not the problem, you're the problem. So instead of looking at another company, another opportunity, thinking that the solution is going to be elsewhere and having to start all over again, only to have the same exact problems happen when you start all over again, and now even you know, work on blowing your reputation even more because you keep moving from company to company. You find the solution by fixing yourself and staying in the company that you're in and working on you, because you're the issue in that case. Very seldom is it the company that's the issue. And I see people leave great companies all the time, and they're thinking that the answer is elsewhere, but the answer is really inside.
That's awesome. Another question I have is on growing pains. You know, every company has some level of growing pains, especially newer companies. There's really no perfect company in MLM. It's kind of like an onion. When you get involved and pull back the layers, you realize that, you know, every company has, you know, its fair share of growing pains. People seem to focus a lot on what they don't have, or naturally they get attracted to drama, problems, issues. So how do you overcome growing pains or when things go wrong in your business?
Well, first of all, I'd ask anybody on the call, are you perfect? I mean, nobody's perfect. You're not perfect. You're not flawless. No company is flawless. And if you think you're going to find any company, anytime, anywhere that's flawless, good luck. It'll never happen. There is no perfection anywhere. So when, when stuff happens, as stuff does, then you got to kind of roll with the punches. I mean, that's part of being in business. Some days are good, some days are not so good, and just understand that that is part of any company growing, that things happen. Maybe customer service time is longer because of some demand on customer service, or a product launch, there was an issue with something, or it doesn't matter what the issue is, things happen. And I can tell you, like, if we're talking specifically, and I don't know, I mean, if you're referring to your company or whatever, but all companies have things that go on. And I know, and I mean, I'm coming from a position of, for example, knowing Josh. Josh, as a company owner, is doing everything he possibly can to make sure his company runs as smoothly as possible. And you've got to just understand that he's got his best interests, your best interests at stake. And no company owner have I ever met in all the years of doing network marketing that says, hey, I'm doing things so we can kind of make it harder for the field. They're all always looking, what can we do to improve the field experience, make it better, easier for our distributors, and giving them the best experience that they possibly can. And then I always, for me, it's like, because I've dealt with lots of companies that I've been in where things have gone wrong, or things have gone sideways, or things have happened, and I just go, you know what? I know these guys are trying to do the best that they can, and I know I'm so far from perfect. I wouldn't expect the company to be perfect, and I'm just going to embrace that change and roll with the punches and be as positive as I can as I go through it, and keep on charging ahead, knowing that they've got my best interest at stake.
Yeah, that's great. Great perspective. Got a couple more, and then we'll wrap this up. For the leaders that are on the, I'm looking at some of the names on here. We've got some pretty big leaders on this call that already have nice teams in place. What's the best thing to do when momentum starts to slow down? In other words, they've got meetings that are happening. The same people keep plugging in, but it's the momentum is starting to slow down and starting to die. How do they create that new spark in their business?
Go to the bathroom and look at yourself in the mirror and go, am I in personal production mode or not? The only way out of a doldrum or a slow spot is to make sure that your personal productivity is up. What I find with most people is when they get into a position where momentum has slowed down, they've slowed down. So if you want to get things moving again, the only way out of a slump, a slow spot, a doldrum, is to get your personal production back in gear. And because people will do what they see you doing, ultimately what's going to happen is people are going to see, man, this guy's on fire. He's recruiting, he's building, he's bringing people in, he's inviting people to meetings, he's signing people up. Oh, I better do that. And the ones that are meant to do it, they're going to show up and they're going to start duplicating what you're doing. And the ones that aren't, they're going to keep doing nothing. But that you're okay with that because you replace them with other people that are showing up. So anytime a doldrum happens, first place is you got to look at yourself and just be really honest. Am I, because it's easy. Here's what happens. People start building and they start to get into management mode, and they start running their events, and they start, working with their team, but they're not doing personal production the way that they were when they first started. And that's the key to continued growth, is your personal production. So making sure that you're actively recruiting and building and not just managing your organization. That's a key component to continued growth and maintaining momentum.
I agree 100%. Micromanaging and just watching from afar never works out. You have to be in the trenches, lead by example. I got two more questions, and then we'll wrap it up. This kind of goes into with leads and prospecting. You talked about exposures. How many, if you have to put a number on it, how many exposures or calls do you think each person needs to do per day to become a top recruiter? If you have to put a number on it.
Well, I mean, it's a little hard to put a number on it because everybody's got their different schedule and how many times or how many hours that they can put into their business. But I mean, and I get asked this question all the time, and my answer is as many as you can possibly do in a given day. I mean, the number one activity in this business is exposure. I mean, that's what matters. That is where the rubber meets the road, is you prospecting for your business. So as many exposures as you can put into every day as possible. Like if I'm actively building a network marketing business and I get into my office at 6:30 in the morning, like I've messaged you at 6:30 this morning. If I'm in my office at 6:30 in the morning, I'm not dilly-dallying around. I would immediately be on the phone prospecting on the East Coast where it's late enough for me to get people on the phone. I would be prospecting at lunchtime. I'd be prospecting throughout the day. I would be prospecting into the evening. That's what you're doing. That's how you make money in this business, making sales. If you're recruiting people into the business, that's the activity. So it's kind of hard to put a number on it. But, I mean, I would say that if you want to go to I'd say that if you're doing 5 solid exposures every single day, 5 days a week, you're probably going to be well on your way to creating a good, solid success story for yourself. A solid exposure is 5 people a day that you're putting your business or your product in front of on a very consistent basis, and you can't help but be successful in this business.
Awesome. Last question. What's your one biggest piece of advice to everyone on this webinar? If you could pick one thing that you feel is the most important thing that people need to do, or your one just, biggest piece of advice, what would that be?
I'll put it into 2 pieces of advice, because one piece of advice would be, you guys have, I'm sure, heard this before, is you can't quit. I mean, the moment that you quit, you have no chance for success. So having that never give up, I'm doing this until, I don't care how long it takes, I'm going to figure this out, I'm going to continue until I get there, and I'm going to eliminate any option for exiting or quitting. That's really powerful, because when you draw a line in the sand that's that thick that you're not going to cross, meaning I'm doing this until I don't have an option for, I've eliminated any exit option, then what happens for you is all of the things that help you to be successful have to avail themselves to you, because now your only option is actually succeeding. It's pretty powerful when you actually do draw a line in the sand like that, because now it's like, I can't quit. I don't have the option of quitting. And I'll ask you this, I mean, you guys that are listening, what if that was the case? What if you put yourself in the position where failing was not an option, quitting was not an option, that you had to do this business until you succeeded, that you couldn't quit, you couldn't give up, you couldn't decide one day that you're just not going to do this, that you're going to do this until you make it? What would then happen? Well, you'd make it, because that would be your only choice. That would be one thing. And number 2 is follow the producers. There's a phrase I use on stages all the time: do what the doers are doing, don't do what the don'ters are doing. In every company out there, there are doers and don'ters. There are people in your business that are doing and finding all the reasons to make things happen, and then there's people that find every reason to not make things happen. So my suggestion would be follow the people that are producing, and make sure you're surrounding yourself with the people that are doing, not the ones that are sitting around the virtual water cooler complaining about the way they wish things were. Go hang out and surround yourself with people that are doing the business and totally committed, and that'll feed you.
Awesome. Well, we're right at 11:01, so we're going to wrap this webinar up. Guys, it's been an incredible webinar. I just want to give a huge thanks to Todd Falcone. That little black book of scripts is a huge tool. I believe it's the best script product and MLM training product that you'll find in the entire industry. So I hope you guys all go into your back office, and as you see on your screen under leads and traffic, click on buy Todd's #1 product. It'll help you close more people with your lead generation efforts and as you prospect with your list. And I'll make a commitment to everybody on this call that if you guys take advantage of Todd's product and visit his training store, I'm going to personally twist his arm and see if I can get him to come back and do some more training webinars for us on different topics. So this webinar, it will be recorded. We are going to post it. I suggest that you get it out to everyone in your team. We're going to see you guys all at the top. I just want to thank Todd again, and I want to thank you all for plugging in. This webinar is officially over. Thanks, guys.